I want to thank everyone for gathering today at the City and County of Honolulu's Emergency Operations Center. As you know, Lester is approaching, and we're under hurricane watch for the City and County of Honolulu. But we also, I think, have somewhat good news to report this morning. As you can see from the chart behind us, Lester is taking a northerly pattern. It's what we hoped because of the low pressure system above the islands is kind of pulling the hurricane that direction. And just like a long hose, when it starts going north at the end, the whole thing moves. And so as you can see, the City and County of Honolulu, the island of Oahu, is outside of that zone of uncertainty or cone of uncertainty. But that means if Lester were to take a little bit more of a track to the left, we would fall within more impacts. And so we're not letting our guard down. But we want to let people know, at least on this island, that perhaps the impact that we thought would come may not come. But we're going to continue to plan just in case. The other thing I want to emphasize, hurricanes that come from the north don't have the same amount of impact as hurricanes that come from the south. Iniki came from the south. Darby, the tropical storm, came from the south. When you have a southern approach like this here, coming from the right and up, what happens, there's more rain, more wind on that northwest quadrant of the storm. And that's what we saw with Darby, even as a tropical storm. With Lester, we're seeing this approach, and Oahu is to the left of this. The impact is on the right-hand side, and so that's good news. Now, having said that, what are we doing? We're going to activate our Emergency Operations Center tomorrow at 6 o'clock, just to be careful. The hurricane is a Category 2 hurricane, and it is weakening. And it's moving faster than Darby, and all of us like that because we want it to go by our islands as quickly as possible. The impacts from Lester will start to be felt tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and into Sunday morning, with the real onslaught around 3 or 4 in the morning. So we want people to be ready. We want people to be prepared just in case and to follow the instructions that you receive through your local media. The winds are going to be 30 to 40 miles per hour. So, God, we're having gusty trades right now above that. But we will have stronger winds. We have a plan to open 6 shelters if we need to, but we're not going to do that now. We're going to see what we learn from the National Weather Service. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we'll be gathering here to get the latest update. And if it shows that Lester has changed course, then we'll implement the plan of opening shelters. We hope we don't have to. We have camping. This is Labor Day weekend, one of the last hurrahs before the end of summer. We have 205 campsites. Each campsite has permits to up to 10 people. That's a lot of people, and we have several large ones too. And we had a discussion, do we cancel those permits at this point? We don't want to do that. We want to allow people to continue to plan to camp, but we want to ask those campers to pay attention to their local media to find out, and of course to be ready. It's going to be a wet weekend. We are going to get some rain. But if necessary, we will announce tomorrow that we're canceling those permits. But right now, people's permits are safe and they can proceed to plan on camping. All of our over 300 parks will continue to remain open, although we're going to be monitoring Hanauma Bay. As you know, we closed it with Darby. Depending on the surf there, we may close it, but for right now, Hanauma Bay is going to remain open. We are expecting surf in the 20 to 35 foot range on the North Shore and the East Shore. A lot more surf than came with Darby, and we want people to be careful there. We're going to ask Mark Rigg to say a few words. So, Mark, you want to come up and just emphasize to everyone how careful they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark Rigg with the Emergency Services Department. We'd like to give you some information regarding the high surf on the east side and some things to think about to stay safe this weekend. As the mayor said, we expect high surf tomorrow morning. Our captains will be up at sunrise at Hanauma Bay on the east side of the island monitoring the high surf, and they will provide an advisory to the Parks Department and DEM whether to close Hanauma Bay. So that will be determined by tomorrow morning early. We'll have that determination made. As I said, there's high surf on the east side. We expect surges, and these surges are increased at the high tide. High tides are at 5:15 a.m. and about 5:15 p.m. tomorrow. The tide drops during the midday. Please be careful on the beaches. If you are going to the beach, stay off the wet sand, stay off the rocky ledges, And if you're not an experienced ocean person, I would advise staying out of the water completely. Also keep in mind the high winds can cause things to blow. Typically when people go to the beach with their surfboards, their stand-up boards, their canoes and their kayaks, pay special attention to your watercraft, because those things can blow away too. Keep in mind, if you do decide to go in the ocean with a kayak, a stand-up board, or a surfboard, or a canoe, that these things can get away from you and blow away as well. So you could get stranded in the ocean, your board, your whatever can blow away. So be very careful if you decide to go in the ocean. Some paddlers like to go downwind and ride the swells downwind. So be particularly careful on that. As far as emergency medical services, we expect the high winds to be a potential for power outages. If your family member or someone you know is relying on oxygen at home or a ventilator, keep in mind that you might want to have a backup generator available in case the power goes out to continue those services at home. Emergency medical services will not be transporting to shelters. They will only be transporting to hospital emergency rooms. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Along the same lines as surf, as you know, with the storm surge, it could in fact impact people's property on the North Shore. So we're asking homeowners out there to be vigilant, to be careful. The good news is a lot of sand is returned with the summer, so there's more buffer, but people need to be careful. If there's any negative impact, we ask people to call 911 to report it so we can respond quickly, both on the state level and on the city level. As you know, there are a lot of events going on around this island because of Labor Day. Many of them have been canceled. You know, the Okinawan Festival, unfortunately, has been canceled. Just want to get that word out there again. The Labor Day Labor Picnic at the Shell on Monday has been canceled. The Aloha Festival festivities kickoff has been canceled. It'll be rescheduled. But the IUCN is going strong. And hopefully the impacts of Lester will be minimal, and our participants will all continue to enjoy their time here and also share the information on how to be a better planet in terms of our environment. For those folks who live in the Wahiawa area and they drive by Lake Wilson, they may notice that the lake is a little higher than normal. It's usually down at the 65-foot level. It's about 78.5 feet. That's because we've had a very, very wet summer, and a lot of water has been going into the lake from that whole plain up there. So we're monitoring it very carefully. We're working with Department of Land and Natural Resources and the private sector to make sure that the water level is such that we don't need to worry. And should there be a need, we will take action regarding Lake Wilson. There is a spillway that handles any overflow of water. So the good news with Lester is we think the rain impact will be minimal there, but want to let people know we're monitoring it and in case people are concerned.